Hi kids, it's Bunny with another junk journal, and this time I decided to make it of all of my favorite images. So this is my favorites junk journal, and it is hardbound. I guess I'm going to pull out just a hair. It is hardbound with chipboard cover, covered with a pretty blue fabric. The picture on the front is of a woman hugging a pot of basil. Don't ask me why. I guess it's her favorites, which is why I put it there. And we have here some embroidered applique. And I have a velvet ribbon holding it all together. Coming out the top, you see are the tops from the tags that are in here. I topped them with excuse me, ribbons from Vintage Saris. And let's get my little helper here. There we go, holding the book up, I hope, and see what's inside. And as usual, if this runs out before I'm done, and I still have a lot to go, I will make a part 2. So, looking inside, we have a lace pocket on the inside cover, which holds a journaling card. Whoops. And all the this is my favorite image. All the journaling cards are blank on the back, so you can write on them. And here's a skinny one. Excuse me. And here's a miniature tag. Most of the tags are bigger than this. They are also all blank on the back, so you can write on them. And there is a little note about this journal, which explains a little about what a junk journal is and how you can use it. And the pretty illustrated pages are from a junk journal kit called Kruger Park, and it's by Janie B. Journals on Etsy, and a lot of very pretty images. On this one, I've put some texture paste. You probably can't see it very well, but you can feel it when you get the journal. The little design. On this page, I've clipped a little envelope that I made out of some pages from a bird watching book, and inside is a little journaling card, a little advertisement, vintage copy, not a real vintage. I put lace on the edges of many of the pages, and many of the blank pages are coffee dyed. Excuse me. We have little clusters and other little surprises throughout the journal. This is a page from an old book. A little stamping there. And in this pocket, which shows some ladies in a Paris sidewalk cafe, we have some journaling cards. Love peacocks. And here's a standard size tag. I need to hold this up. And this is a some handmade paper with flower petals in it. And a little doily. This is vintage sheet music. The song Because, which I believe they used to play at weddings a lot. This is a little crochet flower. And on this page, here's a tuck which has journaling cards. Gorgeous little girl. There's a large tag. And here's some vintage ephemera. All of the vintage ephemera in this book are actually vintage, authentic. This is a Western Union telegram from, let's see, 1936. And it looks like wedding wishes to some newly married couple. And we have some old notebook pages. This is from a vintage Betty Crocker cookbook. This is from a vintage children's book. I think I need two helpers under here. Let me get another helper here. Keeps rocking around. Some golden doily, more vintage sheet music, beautiful Kruger Park. And over here we have, in the center, we have clipped a vintage love letter, which is from 1932. And there's a real letter in there, and it's to someone's sweetheart. And we have a large pocket that I've made over here in which there is a miniature notebook for you to jot things down in, along with miniature journaling cards. And in this pocket we have a vintage, authentic vintage photograph. And a journaling card, and vintage ephemera. This is, looks like a receipt from 1919. You know, I wore this ring because I thought it was pretty, but it's sort of getting in my way. Here's more of that children's book. And the Betty Crocker cookbook. And some ledger paper. Ooh, we got a surprise. And here is another vintage photograph. Very reflective. This nice couple. In this tuck, we have a vintage snap fasteners from Woolco. That's probably from the 50s. Something like that. In this journaling card, I like this because all these people back there look kind of distraught over something, and she's just up there blowing on a dandelion. I love her. And here's a tag which has a pocket on the back with a little tag, and another piece of vintage ephemera. This is a check from the Bank of Crewe, 1933. Okay, and that pocket's made from vellum paper. Continuing on, we have another tuck with beautiful journaling cards and another tag for you to write on. More vintage sheet music. This is mulberry paper here. It's probably hard to see on camera. It's got little bits and flecks in it. Here's a little teeny tiny bag in which I have put a vintage photograph of a lady and a little authentic vintage ticket to the Mount Union Theater in Alliance, Ohio. Betty Crocker and book pages and more journaling cards. That was so beautiful. And a tag, and this is from an old S&H Green Stamps book. A page from it telling you what wonderful things you can get if you save green stamps. Remember those? This is vintage wallpaper. More sheet music, vintage. Here's just a double tag that I just put over the top in the center of the signature. And here I put some vellum butterfly wings. And here's some goldfish, and they're holding some more pretty journaling cards. Oh, this is another one of those envelopes I made from the vintage bird watching book or bird identification book, and it has a card inside of it and a tag and another bit of vintage ephemera. This is from United Drug Company. Looks like a 1919 receipt. Kind of thin paper. Fragile. Button there. Another little bag with a little quote on it. And it has another little miniature photograph. I don't know if that's a tombstone or what she's sitting on, but whatever, lady. And this is a piece of sari silk embroidered piece from a sari. Very pretty. I just pinned that over the top. Another little surprise. Here's a tuck or a pocket that I made of vellum, and inside of it is a pretty journaling card and a miniature envelope that has miniature cards inside it, and this lovely cabinet photograph of a lady. I don't know what year, but I'm sure it is very old. It might, does it say on it? No, I don't think so. But she's a very lovely lady. More of the vintage children's book. They're building a doghouse. And it's a very cute story. I've included the entire story so you can read it. Little Betty Crocker. This is a triple pocket that I've made. It's got a cute picture on the front, and then here's a journaling card, another journaling card, and a lace-covered tag. I think maybe the light's too bright. Too late now. More of the handmade paper. More of the vintage book page, sheet music, and here's a tuck with a some kids ready to drive an old Model T or Model A or very old car. Another one of my favorite images. Another big tag. Here's another big side pocket that I made out of vellum, which has a little teeny tiny notebook in it with a little stamp, vintage stamp, and other things in it. This is a vintage, it comes in this envelope, 1919, Fine Memories. It's a little sweet note to a friend, and is just very, very precious. I found that in an antique shop and thought it was so lovely. And there's another vintage photograph. A lady with her cat eye sunglasses on. And some more journaling cards. Just love the expression on that lady's face. And of course another tag. Whoops. Come on, hands, work. More ledger paper, cookbook. There's a little quote down there. Quotes from plays, things like that. And having a cup of coffee here is this lovely lady. And here's a vintage photograph of a man in front of an old movie theater. And it's a movie starring Jimmy Stewart and Sandra Dee. And it's called In Liebe ein. So I don't know if this is somewhere overseas or if there was actually a movie with that title. And here's some more vintage ephemera. And I made this pocket out of a little illustration of an old book. I thought it was cute, and I just decorated it up. And I always wondered what this image is. Looks like a dead knight at her feet, but maybe I should look it up sometime. And here's a girl with a fox. Okay, love mysteries. And this is an old postcard, vintage postcard. Moving onward, more, this is another vintage wallpaper sample. Here's another vintage photograph of some kids. Very cute kids. I'm trying to get through this. I don't know if I will, though. It's already pretty long.